Ready for us to start the live stream? We're starting.
Ready or not?
I'm ready.
Lights, camera, action. All right, well, thanks for meeting tonight. And I know we have a shorter time together, and it's an opportunity for you to have a counter or response to what we shared last time. And I do want to just say that we did check in with the board, and they are willing to vote on after their work session on October 11th. And so if there is an avenue for ratification prior to that, then they can go ahead and vote on that Tuesday so that we can start moving things forward. So just wanted to let you all know that.
Okay, so that's great. Yeah, I mean, I guess what our feeling is that like we need to present a counter. We're like, you know, what we're trying to do is make sure that we can pass this thing, you know, and represent, you know, as many of our members in transportation as we can. And I won't really like, I mean, there's various things that I think the team wants to communicate to you guys. But maybe I'll just sort of cut to the chase and show you what our proposal is. Does that sound good?
Sure, that'd be great.
I mean, we think it's quite reasonable. Can you guys see it? And Michelle, I tried to like make the, I made this a new table, so it was a little more clear than maybe what I had sent you last time. Kind of based on, you know, on the current setup, and I can email this to you as well. But basically for like the transportation assistance, we're asking to start off at step 2. And I believe fleet service worker, I believe we're the same as what you guys were. Is that true? Is that wrong, team?
No, the fleet service worker would be combined with the same offer as the mechanics.
Okay, yeah.
trainers, and routers.
Yeah, and then so for D and E, the bus drivers and dispatchers, you know, I think we're basically in agreement there. I don't think there's any real mystery about that. And then we're basically asking for an additional step for F, G, and H. I think you guys were starting them off at 2, and we're asking that they start off at 3.
There's also a step I, Rob.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, and hopefully I included that in this. I believe I did. Yeah. I don't know if you've got the contract, Scott.
I don't have one with me, sorry.
Or if Melody does, I could probably pull it up, or someone might have it. Want to make sure that I didn't like.
For which one?
For I, it should.
You said step 3.
Step 3, yeah.
Yeah, on there, what you're putting in for that step is step 3.
Okay. You mean for step 3
I.
is step 1, I start.
Yeah. Mhm.
The current step 3
Yeah,
is 3484.
F through I is all step 3 on your chart.
I just didn't put the step 3 over here down to the bottom, so that's there now. But yeah, I mean, you know, we think this will be something that we can present to the, you know, that all of transportation can get behind it, which is going to be important, you know, because this is something that's really going to impact transportation. So turning them out so that, you know, and having them feel good about it, I think is key. Carol. Do we lose her?
Carol, you're
No,
muted.
she's just muted.
Oh,
There we go. Just a point of clarification, because maybe you guys don't realize this, but where it says bus washer, those are the college kids that we hire in the summer to wash buses. So they're just like temperate, they just work the summer. Those aren't transportation full-time employees.
Yeah, and we didn't think they were, I mean, they're part of the
Okay.
pay scale. So
Right.
we left them alone. They haven't,
They
um,
didn't move.
yeah, we'd
Okay.
love to bargain on their behalf, but we were kind of scratching our head about, we
Okay,
figured
I'm
not
sorry.
represent them.
I was thinking that you said that you had moved them up to start at also at step 2, and I was like, but they're, all right, my bad. Disregard everything I just said then.
No, it's still a good clarification. So Scott, do you want to talk a little bit about transportation assistance?
Yeah, the only real question we had on that chart there, other than the A is not included, was if we really had anyone on step C. Was that Marguerite's old position, or we weren't sure if we had anybody in that, but we included it in the step 3 anyway, just because it was there. As
Yeah,
far as the
that's-
aides, I'm
That's
sorry.
correct, Scott. It's, right now, it's Jen,
Okay,
but yes, that's what that is.
okay. I wasn't sure what that position was, but we kind of thought that was what that was there. As far as the transportation assistants go, they do go through a lot of training. They don't have quite as much as the drivers, but they still have to go through the first aid training with CPR for adults and children. They have safety care they have to take every year, which is a one-day course that we do in the summer come in on our off time to fill in that course. They're required to take transporting students with disabilities classes. They have safe schools classes. There's a Q strength class so that they know how to fasten in the wheelchairs safely. Because we definitely don't want them flying around the back of the bus in any situation. Plus, a lot of them have to take a seizure class if they have students on their bus that are prone for seizures. And that's something with the school nurses, and I'm not 100% sure what all is involved there because I've never had to take that class, but there is a lot of training. I tried to figure out exactly how much time each of these classes was supposed to take, but I was unsuccessful. Wasn't able to get a hold of the right people that had the hours on that. Carol might know a little more, but every time we have to replace a transportation assistant, we're looking at another 30 or 40 hours of training that goes right out the door with them, that the district is ponying up for to train a new one that's coming in.
Yeah, I mean, and we're thinking about them and education assistants and SEAs, and I don't know if Melody, you have anything to sort of talk about like them compared to SEAs.
The only thing that I have, we've already said it a few times, that the transportation assistants have more training than an SCA, but they're essentially on a rolling classroom. People call the school bus a rolling classroom. That's what I have to add, is that Scott's already said the amount of training that they have. So, yeah, that's what I have to add right now. We've already said several times that they are highly trained assistants.
So is there anything else we need to say about this, or do you guys have any more specific questions about it? I think it's pretty reasonable. It's not, I feel like we're actually fairly close together. I think we're in alignment. The vast majority of them, bus drivers and dispatchers, obviously the big group is the bus drivers. We're in alignment there. We're basically asking for an additional step otherwise. And then it's, something we can, kind of present to the transportation department as a whole and feel good about, and not feel like it's going to kind of be a divisive vote. So what do you guys want to do next if there's no real question? Should I send this to you? Do you guys need to caucus? Where are we at? I'll take your silence as an acceptance of our proposal. Is that?
Well, Rob, I was gonna say, we're all physically in our probably homes or offices. When you said, where are we at? I think one of the things that we have struggled with is we're having to play within the certain scope of what has the board is also approving. So that's what I keep going back to in my head in terms of our conversations with them. And so I don't know, Michelle, do you have anything to add?
No, I do believe we've come forward too with an offer that honors both the board's wishes to increase driver wages and for folks that are required to have CDL as part of their life, their job. You guys brought that forward. We honored that, and we talked about the challenges that creates, kind of that upwards compression. We've talked all through that. We also talked about TAs and kind of where we are in terms of vacancy and fill rate, and that's not a hard to fill position for us. We do value them. We value all of our employees. All of our employees have training that they do, and really we're focused on folks that have CDL. That was our charge from the board, and I would struggle to take anything back that's different from that. So I think we've kind of expressed that, and we again appreciate this counter, but I don't know that we have anything to caucus about.
I mean, I'm hearing like pushback on non-CDL. And I assume that that's mostly aimed at transportation assistance. You know, but it's also hard because we're also asking transportation, you know, to vote for this. And it could be that, you know, some of the assistants are going to feel left out and won't vote for it. You know, and I know you guys said sort of like, this is our like, you know, sort of final offer last time, but you're also sort of asking the, you know, the department and the bargaining unit as a whole to vote for it. You know, and that's sort of where we're at. You know, if there's a counter you guys want to put forward, that's fine. If you need to talk to the board, we get it. You know, or, you know, but you might also give us an idea about like, you know, is it the transportation assistant increase that we're asking for? You know, because we know that, you know, that the way that you guys are reimbursed for transportation is, you know, puts them in a slightly different category budget wise than a lot of, you know, your other groups. You know, or is it, you know, dispatchers? I mean, I'm sorry, you know, is it FGHI that you're having a harder time with?
I think, you know, one of the things that I've been thinking about over our last several conversations is that we're trying to find a way to kind of meet in the middle. And I think one of the areas that you brought up that we really felt was important was to address an increase for anyone holding a CDL beyond our bus drivers. And so we took that into account and we applied that. And then when it came to adding things for TAs at this time, we weren't able to encompass that because we were holding back to the anchor of like whoever holds the CDL is where we're going to be able to put our funds. And Michelle, you know, has run the numbers to see what this cost will be, because it's not just a one step for the bus drivers and the dispatchers. And the bus drivers are the folks that encompass the largest portion of the transportation staff. And so I think that's one thing that we keep anchoring back to is just the amount of time it takes to be a bus driver and the amount of time it takes to be, you know, some of these other positions and holding that CDL. And so that's one of our anchoring points. And I think, really the board is ready to vote to support this. And I think, part of it has to do with your bylaws and the ways those things are set up. And, that is part of the way that you have things set up. But I know that our board would be ready to move forward with the proposal that we presented last time.
Yeah, I mean, we appreciate you guys are, the willingness on your guys' part to pay the bus drivers more, to pay the dispatchers more. We do have some concern about the classifications above that, and we obviously have some concern still about the classifications below it. I mean, Scott's probably the one who's, sort of has his finger of this group, has his finger on the department the most. But we're also, I think, really, trying to put something forward that the department will feel good about. It seems like a lot of people in transportation were kind of given the idea that wages in transportation were going to be looked at as a whole. I'm not saying that you said that, Kana, but I know that it was a message that a lot of people in transportation heard. And we're just a little worried that if we come back and say a slice of you are going to get fairly large increases, and then other ones are going to get smaller increases. And we're worried about compression. I know you guys have your own concerns about compression too. But we still think of this as a very reasonable proposal, and
I
sorry,
would
go
say,
ahead.
Rob, I know this has come up a couple of times, and I just want to be clear that what I said at in-service is that we were going to hopefully look at all of transportation, and we did. My hope was to see an increase for transportation. And so, I mean, I know that keeps being alluded to, but that's just out there. Everybody knows that. And we've done those things.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not. Yeah, I mean, I'm
I
not.
can't, and so, I mean, I think that the people of transportation understand that HSD, I mean, we are a team when we come into bargaining. This isn't what Carol Hatfield wants. It's a team effort, and we're trying our best to honor that. And I have a lot of skin in this game, so to speak, as well. And I understand, what the transportation assistants are feeling, totally understand. But I also know where we're hurting the most, and I see the impact it's putting on the department, and that has to be our focus. And I agree, and it doesn't mean we value assistants less. They have a very purpose, a huge purpose, one that I fully support and have worked to maintain over the years. But it can't always be an all or nothing situation, unfortunately. And that's just kind of where I think we are too.
I want to say that Carol's doing her job. She's doing her job to advocate for her department. And, having been a building principal before, I too stepped into that space to advocate for my school, advocate for my staff. And that's, part of the expectation that we have of our leaders is advocacy. And then it's also the reality piece of when you're coming back and meeting with the team and then looking at the numbers and looking at the amount and looking at all of the things, then it's called kind of like the reality, like when we all have wanted to have like a dream vacation and you're like, I want it to be like this. I want to spend my money on these things. And then the rubber hits the road and you're kind of going, okay, I have to take this off, or I have to decrease this amount in order to take the funds that we actually have to be able to put forward to that, and what we need to do and what we want to do. And You know, I think that's the responsibility. We're held fiscally responsible to make sure that we're making decisions that aren't going to cause more problems in the future, because we can't, we can think about right now and where we're at with the bus drivers and the number that we have down. But I don't want to be out a year from now where or 2 years from now where we're actually having to make cuts and having to RIF positions because we don't, you know, for financial decisions that we're making in this moment. So that's a responsibility. So I just want to say that Carol's doing her part to advocate, and we're doing our part to kind of hold the line and say, hey, you know, we need to look at this. We need to look at the numbers. So I don't know if anyone else in here has had things that they want to do and they have people that they share lives with that say, oh, we can't do that. And even though we want to do that, or maybe you're the person that has to hold that space. So I know it's hard, but I think that we're trying to come forward where a place that we can meet. Coming back to CDL licensure is where we're tethered to in our united efforts to support what's needed here for bus drivers. And the rest of the folks, mechanics, and our dispatchers and our routers and trainers that hold the CDL license.
So I guess I'm trying to like, you know, like, I mean, you know, and I understand that both what Carol said and what you're saying, Kana, like, you know, and we do appreciate it that like, you know, because, you know, there was some conversations before bargaining where, you know, it seemed like really, you know, the driver shortage was the really big thing. You know, and I respect the fact that you guys have gone beyond that and that, you know, and you have looked at the department as a whole. You know, and I know that, you know, when people in transportation hear that, that everyone is going to be sort of looked at, you know, that is something that you guys have done. And I know, Carol, you didn't promise that you'd be able to secure increases for your entire department. And I'm sure that you probably would like to, because it would probably make your job a little bit easier. You know, but I'm also like trying to figure out, we're also trying to figure out like, you know, there's various moving parts here. There's the transportation assistant issue, which you guys have consistently sort of talked about. You know, and you are calling for increases for, you know, for the mechanics and the positions that are sort of further on down the list below them. So I'm trying to figure out like, is it that the additional step that we're asking for those positions is something that's, you know, that's something that's very difficult for you, or is it the transportation assistant? You know, which one is more palatable? I guess I'm trying to figure out as we try to craft like proposals. And it also looks like Melody has something she wants to say.
Yeah, it was brought up that Carol's advocating for her department, and at the same time, I speak for classified employees across the district. This team is speaking for employees across the district as well as transportation. So we are all advocating for them. What we know is that we hear the grumbling of the transportation assistants. I know historically they have not done anything, but we're hearing a lot of them talking about other jobs. They're not happy. And other departments, other classifications are seeing shortages across the district where we're looking at different things with them. I don't think that raising 2 classifications and then bumping some others is going to be the answer here. It's a start. I'm not going to deny that. But these transportation is a unique creature of department because they get reimbursed by the federal government at 70%. So a raise of, you know, a few, well, what was it, like $1 is only going to be a raise of 30 cents per hour on our cost. not even 30 cents, not even $1 from 1957 to 2016. It's going to be pennies on our cost. And I think that showing is going to show the transportation assistants that, that they matter, that they're valued. And I know you say you value them, but we hear, Scott, Lori hear it every day. I hear it, many times a week, that they're just, this whole department, there's the mental health impact that this shortage is having on everybody in this department, all the way from the transportation assistants, all the way up to Carol. Everybody is feeling this pressure. Everybody is feeling the impact of putting 55 kids on a route and then having kids sitting on the curb. Now, granted, that's every year, but having kids sitting at the school because there's not enough room on their bus, they have to call another bus, and there's no bus to come because there's no driver to drive that bus this year. We were at the risk of not having field trips, and that's a mental health impact on not only this department, but the entire district, because the teachers and the classified out in the other schools have to talk to these kids, coaches, about not being able to go do things because we don't have a bus and we don't have the money for a charter bus. So I would like you to reconsider, maybe the board to reconsider the drop in the bucket that it's going to cost to give transportation assistance something. Give them something to show that it matters. Because we're getting kids to and from school. We're doing that. Kids are going on trips. I'm hearing about it. I don't know how many are being canceled because they don't have the buses or the drivers. I haven't heard anybody, but I don't know. I can't go away without doing one more advocacy and trying to advocate for the transportation assistants, the mechanics and the drivers and everybody in this department, as well as the mental health of the students and the rest of the district.
So yeah, where do we go from here?
I do have one more question. You were talking about the CDL component. We have people in the department, I know of one, I'm sure there's others, maybe not, that are not required to have a CDL, but they do maintain their CDL and they do go through in-service to help out when needed. Are we looking at including those, or is that just thank you to them?
There is one person, and she actually was a bus driver before she was hired into the role of, used to be office manager. It's a different title now. And that was her personal choice to keep her CDL. We have never asked her to do that. I think part of it is it's a lot of work to get it, so you don't ever want to lose it. And she drives the least amount of us. She's like the last one on the road before a supervisor.
Okay.
Well, I'm sending you guys this proposal. Is there anything else on my team needs to say, or, if you guys don't need to caucus right now, I'm just trying to figure out where we go from here.
Lori has her hand up.
Oh, sorry, Lori, go ahead.
Sorry, in response to Carol, what she just put out there, and to everyone else on your team, we, in regular bargaining, we had talked about stipends for people that spoke Spanish and could interpret. One of the things that I want to maybe take into consideration, or have you guys take into consideration, is maybe for that person, could it be like a stipend so that even though she is driving, she's still maintaining her CDL and taking all the classes and the mandatory drug testing and going for the physical and stuff every year. Maybe we could do something where there would be a stipend for her to keep that CDL so she can be shown that that CDL is important for the district, as well as she does go out, even if she is the last one before a supervisor goes out. She is still going out and helping out the transportation department. I think that's all I have to add. Thank you.
It seems like it would be a shame for her to not maintain her CDL. It's something that the department seems to benefit from.
Well, and I think that's a conversation I could have with Terry, because it's not a requirement of her job. So all she has to do is just tell me she doesn't want to drive anymore. I can't make her do it. It's thus far, it's been voluntary. So I can have that conversation with her tomorrow and be sure that she knows that.
So it's already been a long week. I know we're all tired. I mean, should we break for the night?
We have time together as a group, and I know that that can be really challenging. Was there anything, Rob and Melody, that you wanted to bring forward about the House Bill 4030 distribution that we discussed during labor management? Not tonight.
I have not
Right,
had a
Monica.
chance to talk to the board about any of that.
Okay, all right. Then I think
Rob and I are not
we're good.
prepared to talk about it yet.
Yeah,
Tonight.
but I mean, if you guys wanted to discuss our proposal as a group, I mean, it's something we could talk about, you know, with the members of the board that are here. Seems like a
Well,
lot.
we can go over to the caucus room and talk to them.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
mean.
okay.
Melody was saying, no, Rob, not now.
Yeah, not here.
Yeah. I don't want to put anybody on my team on the spot for not prepping them on what was discussed earlier.
Well, should we do that? I mean, we have what, like, half an hour, right? Ish.
Little, yeah.
Oh, well, we've got,
Till 6:15.
yeah. Do you want to, should we break for 15 minutes? Or
Sure.
10 minutes and then come back?
Lori has her hand up. Is that still up, Lori, or up again?
No, sorry.
Quite all right.
Michelle, I thought you were going to say something.
Nope.
No. Okay.
Okay, well, let's go our own separate ways for like 10 minutes and we'll come back and touch base. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. Thank you for giving us some time to talk. I think we've had some reflections, and I certainly have had some reflections in the last few moments. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is a part of the original language that we came through with the MOA was a lot of conversation about our current bus drivers and what are we doing for them. as you approve the MOA to increase the initial salary for any of our new hires. There's a lot of conversation about what are we doing for current drivers, and that I really want to anchor us back to that, because that was the work that we felt we were charged with our collaborative conversations. And so we took that and created a proposal from that. And then you created a counter proposal that included, everyone in transportation. And we then you talked about the CDL drivers. So I think where we've met points of collaboration on are addressing needs of current drivers. And then we took into account what you talked about for CDLs. And those that hold it and meet that metric. And so we met both of those things, and that's where we feel that our former offer met that goal. And so that's where we're landing in terms of our efforts. And I know that's a challenge, and but I wanted to kind of just share that reflection in the space that we were in. I don't know if my team wants to add anything to that.
No, just appreciate your time and the conversations we've had leading up to this point. I know it is taxing. It is hard to keep coming back to the table, and it is meeting the need that we identified actually even probably before the school year started. And so just appreciate your partnership. The MOA has already done a lot as far as traction and attracting new drivers, and we really are trying to extend retention and higher wages to our current drivers, and then also everyone else who holds a CDL. So we're trying to do that within kind of the scope that we've been charged to from the board, and we've done that. So just really want to appreciate your advocacy, and improvements are happening. And so thank you for that.
Well, we appreciate it too. But it sounds like, we're probably not going to come to an agreement tonight. I mean, maybe instead of like planning to come back and beat our head against the wall, my team should discuss, because we've kind of given you guys a proposal. We haven't really gotten a response to it. Aside from, basically saying that you're giving us, kind of back your current proposal, which is what it sounds like you're doing. So let's break for tonight, and give my side a chance to digest it a little bit, and then we'll follow up with you guys with email. And if we need to come back together, we can put that together. Does that sound good? Is that okay with my team?
Thank you, Rob, and thank you all for your time. I know that everyone is very busy, and we appreciate you coming to the space, and the efforts that I feel like we've been doing together that Michelle talked about have been very important and very helpful. So we appreciate that, and hope that you have a great evening. And I'm sorry that we're not ending in the way that we all maybe had hoped we were going to be. So.
Yep. Okay, great. So we'll be in touch.
Yes, thank you.
Have a good night, you guys.
You too.